Exploring our own consciousness helps us to understand who we are as individuals and also the world in which we live. It also helps us to evolve individually and also collectively as a society. Hello and welcome everyone. Andy Bryan here again from the Soul Pathway. And today within this video, we are going to be exploring the levels of consciousness with regards to Carl Jung's interpretation of the 4 levels of consciousness that we experience within our world. I'm also going to be speaking with you about how we grow and evolve individually and also collectively as a society. And I'm going to try and keep this video as short and concise as possible, as I could be speaking about this subject for quite a long time. So let's jump in straight away to the different levels of consciousness of which Carl Jung speaks about. First of all, you've got the collective consciousness. Then you've got the collective unconscious. You've got your personal consciousness, which is also regarded as your ego consciousness. And then also you've got your personal unconscious. So let's explore them in more detail here now, as we then look at how we grow and evolve through these different levels of consciousness, as we transcend as individuals and become enlightened on our journey. So let me share with you that here now. So let's explore the collective consciousness. And from my perspective, this is the way in which we perceive the world around us with regard to the culture, the society, and the structures in which we live. Now let me share with you Jung's interpretation here. For the collective consciousness, sometimes collective conscience or conscious, is a fundamental sociological concept that refers to the set of shared beliefs, ideas, attitudes, and knowledge that are common to a social group or society. The collective conscious informs our sense of belonging and identity, and even our behaviour. Founding sociologist Emil Durkheim developed this concept to explain how unique individuals are bound together into collective units like social groups in society. And what I find interesting about this is that each and every one of us intrinsically wants to feel like we belong and that we are part of a society. But as we grow and evolve individually, often we can feel alienated by society and disconnected from it. And this is where we become separate from the collective consciousness and begin then exploring our collective unconscious. So let me share with you what the collective unconscious is all about here. So according to Jung, the collective unconscious is made up of a collection of knowledge and imagery that every person is born with and is shared by all human beings. Though humans may not know what thoughts and images are in their collective unconscious, it is thought that in moments of crisis, or more importantly I would say awakening, the psyche can tap into the collective unconscious. Jung believed that the collective unconscious is expressed through universal concepts called archetypes. Archetypes can be signs, symbols, or patterns of thinking and behaviour that are inherent from our ancestors. Now, many of you know who've connected with my work before that I speak a lot about archetypes, as I believe that archetypes can help us to really connect and understand ourselves at a deep level and explore our own personal unconscious that I'll be speaking with you about in just a moment. But the collective unconsciousness, with regards to archetypes, allows us to symbolically connect with certain aspects within ourselves. Let me touch on a few archetypes, which I'm sure that you will connect with yourself. So we'll look at the archetypes of the masculine and feminine. So the archetype of the masculine is the archetypal warrior. And the archetypal warrior is the one that goes out to fight to get what they want in life. In this Western world, we are very much those that go out to work to be the provider, to provide for our family and bring home the money. Now I know a lot has shifted and changed within society, and women are very much, in the workplace nowadays, and they're very much in this masculine energy. But in many ways, this is symbolically what it has represented. Because if we look at the archetypal feminine is that caregiver, that unconditional loving woman, that mother, wife, daughter or sister, who always gives that unconditional love and care. And intrinsically within women, that care comes out as they support their children, as they grow and evolve and become part of a society themselves. But if you want to explore archetypes in more detail, please be sure to check out my Archetypes for Life course, where we delve into each and every one of us, each and every one of them. And it's absolutely fascinating, really. And I personally believe they are a fantastic way to understand ourselves as we grow and evolve through the different layers of consciousness. But let me share with you our personal consciousness and also our personal unconscious. So let me jump over to that here now. So our personal consciousness, also known as ego consciousness. To Jung, the ego was the center of the field of consciousness, the part of the psyche where our conscious awareness resides, our sense of identity and existence. This part can be seen as a kind of command headquarters, organizing our thoughts, feelings and our senses, and even our intuition, and regulating access to our memory. It is the part that links our inner world to our outer world, forming how we relate to that which is external to us. And I've placed the image here of a mask because this is often the mask we wear in society and the persona at which we project. So let me, dive into that and share my personal views here. So our personal consciousness, or more importantly, our ego consciousness, from a very young age, we very much grow and evolve, and everything we've been taught over the years becomes our conditioning and our ego and our personal consciousness. In many ways, before we begin living who we truly are, we're often living through projections of other people's views and perspectives. And these, I wouldn't say in many ways, are our personal consciousness, but that ego consciousness from other people. And that's what I find is very, very interesting. But in order to understand ourselves, we have to understand our ego and what's formed us into the people that we are today. Because it's very much a part of us. That is definitely true. But it doesn't mean that it's the wholeness of who we are. And that's where we then begin to explore our personal unconscious, and that's what's hidden within us. But in order to understand our personal unconscious at a deep level, I personally believe we also need to understand our conditioning and ego. And this is why it's essential for us to connect with our personal consciousness. So let's dive into and explore our personal unconscious. The personal unconscious is everything of which I know but of which I am not at the moment thinking. Everything of which I was once conscious of, but have now forgotten. Everything perceived by my senses, but not noted by my conscious mind. Everything which, involuntarily, and without paying attention to it, I feel, think, remember, and I want, and do, and all the future things which are taking shape in me and will sometime come into consciousness. All this is the content of the unconscious. Beautiful. And very well framed from my perspective, because our personal unconscious are those aspects of ourselves that are hidden. You could say that our shadow is an aspect of our personal unconscious. But if we regard ourselves as spiritual beings in our human vessel of bodies, then what is becoming conscious to us from our unconscious, maybe even aspects of our previous lives, or those suppressed and repressed memories that come to the surface. These are definitely aspects of who you are that you need to uncover in order to grow and evolve. And this brings me on to speaking about Jung's process of individuation. And within the process of individuation, what you're essentially doing is exploring your personal unconscious to bring that which is unconscious to you into your consciousness and awareness, so that you can grow, evolve, and transcend on your journey and step into that place of enlightenment. From my perspective, the process of individuation is also learning how to heal those shadow aspects and wounds within you, so that you can become whole and at one with yourself. One of the best ways of doing that is by also exploring the collective unconscious and the symbolism within archetypes, because through the symbolic meaning of archetypes, what you're able to do is bypass the conditioning and ego that is preventing you from viewing some of those shadow aspects and wounds within, those buried aspects within your unconscious, so that you can view them through symbolic meaning. And this is where you can grow, evolve, and then begin to heal. But let's now look at growing and evolving your consciousness and awareness through the different levels of consciousness with regards to David Hawkins' work, which I also find fascinating. I thought it would be really good to, tie them all together. So let me share that with you here as well. So here we have David Hawkins' levels of consciousness, and he speaks about it with regards to energy and frequency, as we shift from that place of powerlessness, where we connect with the energy and emotions of shame and guilt, to connect with that courage and strength within, where we can then transcend into a place of love, joy, and peace, and into a state of enlightenment, which I find is very, very interesting. But I very much relate to it as well, because as we begin our journey, we can feel powerless, we can feel very much connected with the systems and structures of society, so that we don't notice, the true power within us to grow and evolve. And this is where we step away from the conditions and structures of society in order to truly find ourselves as we grow and evolve. So let's now explore the map of consciousness levels, whereby where you begin your journey, you're often connecting with the emotions of shame or guilt, and hovering around an energy of 20 or 30. And these are very much destructive energies, both to self and those people around you. But as you grow and transcend, you move through that place of fear, and you connect with that worry and anxiety, and then begin to step into that place of courage, where your energy frequency then begins to also shift to around 200. But this is where courage first appears, because that's when you will connect with the creative and expansive energies within you. You will then embrace acceptance, love, peace and joy, and then you will transcend to a place of enlightenment. But what I wanted to speak with you about here is how we begin to transcend on our journey and embrace those higher levels of energy of that love, peace and joy and even enlightenment. Because from my perspective, in order to do that, you really have to explore your personal unconscious and those shadow aspects within you. That shame, that guilt, that fear that resides within. These are your suppressed and repressed emotions and feelings. And if you don't honor them and you are stepping into the love, light, joy and peace, then you're not acknowledging the beauty and wholeness of who you are. From my perspective, this is the representation of false light, and you could say also that false consciousness or perception of consciousness. So it's essential for you to go deep within yourself first, connect with those suppressed and repressed memories or those aspects of yourself that you feel that you're unworthy or not good enough. So then you can transcend from within. And as I mentioned already, you can do that by exploring the collective unconscious through the symbolism of archetypes, and also your personal unconscious as well. So I know this video has been long, but I do hope you found it to be valuable as you begin exploring your own consciousness and awareness and stepping into who you truly are. I personally believe that exploring our own consciousness will not only help us individually evolve, but also collectively evolve as we step into this new and beautiful age. But it starts with each and every one of us first. If you work through and connect with your own individual consciousness, heal those wounds within so that you can raise your consciousness and awareness as you transcend into this place of enlightenment. As we all begin to do that, we can shift the collective consciousness as well. So thank you for listening. I do hope you found this video to be valuable and useful. Please be sure to check out my Archetypes for Life course if you would be more interested in exploring the archetypes and how they relate to you in your life as you shift your consciousness. Now check out a link below this video where you can find out more. And with that, I will say take care, much love, and I do look forward to connecting with you in another video very soon. Bye for now.
Awaken your soul pathway and shift from self to soul. Download our free app on the Google Play Store, where you can disconnect from your mind in order to reconnect with your soul as you awaken to your spiritual journey and connect with your soul from within. Learn from one of our many courses available on Udemy. We have our Archetypes for Life program, where you can connect with your inner world in order to transform your outer world. We also have your Awaken Your Inner Warrior course, where you can learn how to balance your masculine and feminine within. You can even take the journey of divine love to embrace your soulmate or twin flame. Or you can honor and heal your shadow as you shift it from darkness to light. Gain deeper insights from Spirit as you connect with your soul and awaken your soul pathway with our Soul Pathway Oracle cards. Visit www.thesoulpathway.com for more information.